So if you had watched my clinical part 2 for my second rotation, you will know that I just had my first day here. So I am out in my balcony area. So it's not a car clip for once, but yeah, so I had my first day at Spooner Physical Therapy, which is my third rotation. And my schedule is kind of like a little bit weird. So today's Monday, I worked 12 to 6, but there is a meeting from 12 to 1. So like I literally got there, had a quick tour of the place, and then we had a meeting, and obviously I have like no idea what's going on, so I didn't understand a lick of it, but it's fine. And then we started patient care at 1. So I technically like worked 1 to 6. It's outpatient ortho, in case you don't know Spooner Physical Therapy by its name. They see patients every 30 minutes. They do have tech help. So it was just like, and obviously today I just like was observing a lot of like, you know, getting patients and then like, you know, starting them on like the warm up. It's usually like a bike or dynamic exercises or something. And then if they do manual, then like the PT would do like some manual on them, and then they would start running them through their exercises, but then they would usually let the tech finish doing their exercises. Also, sorry about the Carrie noises in the back. She's being really needy. Anyway, and so like mostly like any time is just so much like is happening and I don't know what's going on, so I'm just kind of like just floating around. And you know, she would tell me about like each of the patients and their like medical history and like what they're being treated for and stuff, which was nice. And then just like, you know, going through the exercises, most of them I'm semi-familiar with, you know, from being a tech and, you know, my experience there. But like she had one dancer, so she has like really specific exercises that were really like cool. We're working on a lot of like core strengthening and like doing things like in the positions that she has to do as a dancer, which is really cool. But yeah, like my main thing was like trying to figure out like, okay, how do you know like how much time they're doing for each thing? Like, because you have to bill time for like certain things. So that's where I was like, I have no idea how you're keeping track of this. Like, I have no idea what's going on. But obviously it's something that I'm gonna learn, you know, as I'm there for 10 weeks. But overall, like, I mean, we saw a Parkinson's patient today, so we got to do some like power moves with them, which I had reviewed this morning, just make sure that I, you know, kind of had like a review. My CI had given me a list of like a couple things to look over, so like big and power, which are for Parkinson's, some like general balance activities, vertigo. I did watch one of the other clinicians kind of do like a vertigo like treatment, kind of cleared different canals and like do the maneuvers, so that was really cool to watch. Then she had me look over like outcome measures, which we didn't really do any of those today, but I think they're more of like an eval thing. It was like a little busy. It got a little crazy in the afternoon. There were like some of the techs were leaving, but we still had like patients, so we had like 3 patients and like, you know, trying to get them like doing exercises and then working on another one. And so it got a little like crazy there, but she said it's normally not like that. Did I mention my schedule? I don't think I did. So today I worked 12 to 6, like I said. Tuesday, Thursday is 7:30 to 6:30. Wednesday is 6 to 2, and Friday is 6 to 3. And it's in Fountain Hills. So, which is like a 35-ish minute drive for me, which isn't that bad. I feel like most everything in Phoenix takes like 30 minutes to get to anyway. But those like tomorrow, I shouldn't be like too bad. I just have to leave like 15-ish minutes earlier than I would have like going to my other rotation. But those 6 a.m.s, man, those are gonna be rough. Because I have to leave, like, to get there, like, you know, semi-early to give me, like, some leeway. I want to leave by, like, 5:15, which means I have to be up by, like, 4 a.m. So, we'll see how that goes. That's about it. I don't really have, like, too much to say because it was my first day and I just, like, kind of observed. But my CI is really nice. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes. I don't have any issues. My friend Jessie works at this clinic, so that was cool to see her. And then there's another PT that works there that we used to, me, her, and Jessie all work together as techs. So I knew her as well, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the first day. So I think my dinner just got here, so I'm gonna eat some food and we'll catch in with you next time whenever I feel like making a clip. So stay tuned for more. All right, hello. I just realized that I have not made an update since day one. I went to go see when my last clip was, and that was the first one and the only one that I've done so far. And I just started week 4. So sorry about that. I will try to kind of give a little bit of a summary of the past 4 weeks. I mean, technically 3, because it's only like Tuesday of week 4. So it's June 14th for reference, if that matters to anybody. As I stated in my first one, this is outpatient ortho. So the overall goal for me at this rotation, because it's my last one, which means that by the end of this rotation, I have to be seeing a full caseload, because when I graduate, I have to be what my program considers a competent clinician. And so I have to prove that I can see like a full caseload. So my CI has determined that that is about 12 patients is a full caseload, because that would be like a patient every half hour for 8 hours. That doesn't work out. I don't know why it's 12. Don't ask me, but she said the goal is 12. So that's what I'm rolling with. So we have slowly starting to up my caseload. So for the first week or 2, honestly, I wasn't really doing much. I would work on like maybe 1 patient. And at first I was kind of like, not mad, but like frustrated, because I'm like, I can do more. Like out of all my skills, I feel pretty confident about my manual skills, which is why I like outpatient ortho, because I like doing the manual skills. Like I like working on patients, doing mobilizations, like, you know, feeling the structures and like feeling a difference versus just like seeing like a difference. I don't know. It just depends on like the setting. Obviously the sniff, which was my second rotation, was completely different. You're focusing on way different things, whereas like outpatient, like you're still focusing on their functional limitations, but it's in like, usually people like are trying to get back to golf is a big one, or some kind of other sport or something, versus like the sniff was like, I can't get out of bed, I can't walk. So it was like more basic stuff. I started out working on like 1 to 2 patients, and then we slowly are progressing. So like this week, we're trying to get me at like 4 or 5. And then anytime there's an eval, I've been taking the eval, unless it's a neuro eval, because my CI specializes in neuro. She has like a vertigo certificate. So we have like, she does vertigo patients, which I'm surprised I haven't really seen a vertigo patient from her. We have another therapist that also does vertigo, and I've sat in on a couple of his treatments just to kind of see. But my CI is also POWER certified, which is a Parkinson's disease like certification. It's a specific type of movements that they do. So there's big and loud, and there's POWER, which are like made by the same people, but POWER is less structured. So there's a little bit more variation that you can do with that. So we have a couple Parkinson's patients that do that. So she's been taking the neuro evals, but we just determined that by the end of the rotation that I will be able to do a neuro eval. So that's one of our goals. let's see. So yeah, with evals, I've been taking any like ortho eval. I still struggle with evals because once I can get through the subjective, which is easy, like just getting their history, but then once I get to the objective part, the way that their system is set up is like it gives you like a template. So there's all these options of like special tests and range of motion and like all these things that you can do, and it's extremely overwhelming because I'm like, do I need to do all of these things? What do I do? Like, what do I focus on? So that has been a struggle for me. Like today, our last patient was a low back eval that I just did, and she has scoliosis, and like I was like trying to figure out how to like reproduce her symptoms, and like I was like, I don't know what else to do. And then yeah, so I still get like really like flustered with evals, and like I definitely need like the full hour to do the eval, whereas like the other PTs, they usually only need like 30 minutes to do the actual eval, and then they give them like a few exercises to take home or whatever. And I haven't gotten to that point. Literally, I take the whole hour just to do the actual eval part. So we're working on that, obviously, and she said it just takes time, like as a student, just to get more comfortable doing that. So I get it. Like I'm getting really like hard on myself, and I know like I just feel like I should be better at this point because like it's my third rotation and it's like almost a month in. Like I feel like I should like know it by now, but like there's also the other PTs that are like, you'll never be good at it. Like you'll always struggle. But they're just like better at like managing it, I guess, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I'm working on it. Like, and the first thing I told my CI is that I have confidence issues that I'm working on. And so like, but she's been great, very encouraging. So it's fine. It'll be good. The other thing that we're working on is exercise prescription, because I have always struggled with that. So it's been good because now that I have evals, I can kind of see their progression from the beginning. So now every time I do an eval, those are like my patients, so that I can come up with like their first exercises and then progress them from there. Because a lot of times it's been hard because I just like jump in like through somebody's program that they've been coming to PT for like 4 or 5 weeks, if longer than that. And I'm like in the middle of their program and she's like, what other exercises would you do? And I'm like, I don't know. So we've been working on that. Sometimes it's been challenging because like she'll ask me question, or like she'll be like, well, what else would you do? Or like, what would you do about this? And like, if I don't know the answer, or like I think that like I wouldn't do anything else, like this happens with evals as well. She's like, oh, is there something else that you'd want to test? And like if my answer is like, that's it, but like she's like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't do anything else either. And then I'm like, okay. So that like just gives me a lot of anxiety because I feel like I have the wrong answer. And so that's been kind of frustrating because I'm like, am I missing something? Like, is there not something I'm thinking about? Whereas like my thought process was correct, and she's just like not quizzing me, but you know, like she asked me how would I make an exercise harder, and like we had already progressed the exercise to a more difficult way to do it, and she's like, how would you make this even harder? And I was like, I don't know. Like, have them hold it, add a weight, like more weight. We had already like progressed her resistance. I was like, do more resistance, like obviously that's gonna make it harder. And she was like, okay, like I didn't know either, I was just wondering. And I'm like, what the heck? So that's been fun. Other random stuff, we had a pool party on Saturday for the people with the clinic, so that was a lot of fun. I didn't make any clips or anything, of course, because, you know, privacy and people, I don't want to show anybody on my channel that doesn't want to be on there, so I didn't take any videos or anything, but it was a lot of fun. We had an ice cream truck show up the other day, I think a patient's ice cream truck or something, so we got free ice cream. I took a little video of that here that I can insert because the music is so cute. And then a picture of me with my ice cream, because why not? I think that's pretty much it. It is hot in my car, so I'm gonna go inside now, and I'll update all of you soon. Bye bye for now. Hello, welcome back to another clip about this rotation. Sorry for not being very good at updating. I have realized that I have not been very good at this. I think I said that in the last clip as well, because I went from day 1 to week 4, and surprise, surprise, it's week 8 now. I meant to make one after week 6, which was like my midterm, and then I've just been busy and things have been crazy. If you didn't know, I have been also trying to prepare for the NPTE, which is the National Physical Therapy Examination. I am making a video about, my alarm just went off, so all of my videos are getting cut off today. Anyway, as I was saying, I am making a video about preparing for the NPTE, which is a whole wild ride because nothing can be easy in my life. So if you're curious about any of that journey, I will link that video down below, depending on how all the timeline works out for when these videos come up, or you can always check it out on my channel. So about this clinical, I'm definitely getting a lot more confident. So week 6 was the big turning point for me. So I think I said in one of my other clips that evals, I was still really struggling with evals, and I needed the whole hour to do the actual eval, and I didn't ever have time to give them exercises or work on them if they, were somebody who needed to be worked on or anything. And so I feel finally at week 6, I was getting to that point where I could get the subjective, get my objective stuff, and work on them and give them exercises. So I was really proud of myself about that. There have been a few patients that didn't turn out that way, because they would come in saying oh, I had this one thing happen a couple months ago, and then it kind of happens sometimes, but not all the time, and I don't have any pain right now, so can you tell me what's going on? And I'm what? So I would do all of my testing and everything, and yeah, there'd be some things that they might have been weak in, but it's things that an average person is normally weaker in. So hip flexion and hip abduction, a lot of people are weak in those areas, because most people just have weak hips, honestly, just as a society. And so I'm I don't think that's necessarily contributing to whatever your pain is, but they don't have pain, so whatever. It was so weird. And then I would turn my CI, I was I honestly have no idea what's going on with you. And then she would just kind of come up with something, and then afterwards she'd be yeah, I don't know what's going on with them either. So I'm okay, well then I don't know what to do in that situation, because if somebody's not appropriate for PT, yeah, could I strengthen their hips and get them stronger? You bet. I literally anybody on the planet could benefit from physical therapy, but is that really necessary? If they're not if they're really not having problems, like a lot of them will be like, well, I'm able to do everything, it's just like annoying or like something like that. And I'm like, okay. So like I still struggle with those. Like basically when we went over my midterm, like one of my big things was like I struggle with like complicated patients. So like if somebody doesn't fit like a like box, or like they don't like fit like a typical like clinical presentation, then I'm like, what do I do with you? Which like I feel like makes sense. And like even like my school, when they went over my midterm, they were like, I feel like a lot of new grads struggle with complex patients. So like I don't think that it's like I'm not behind of where I should be, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that was like 2 weeks ago. So I'm getting better. Like I had an eval today. She was pretty like stereotypical. She was not complex. She literally is coming for hip pain. She has arthritis. Like she literally like was super easy. And also today I shadowed another therapist in the morning because so last week was 4th of July, so that kind of messed up like our hours because of like the holiday, and then my CI kind of like took away some hours because of like how her schedule is. And anyway, so I came in for 3 hours this morning and shadowed a different PT, which like I actually like kind of liked, because it's hard being in clinicals, like because I feel like once I get to that 6-week mark, like I pretty much have like my like own caseload, like sort of like I'm treating a lot of my like own patients. Like yeah, my CI is like obviously always there, but like for the most part, like I'm treating them, I do their note, like, and everything. So like when she's treating patients, like I'm usually like, I used to like stand there and observe, and she would like talk to me about it. And like now, like if she's treating somebody, then like I work on my notes. So like I'm not really like learning more. It's pretty much just like what I've already learned up until this point. So it was honestly like nice to follow another therapist and see how they do things. And I was like, yes, like this is what I want, to like learn other like ways, like because my CI like focuses a lot on like soft tissue like stuff, and like we don't really do like joint mobs a lot, whereas like my first CI, like we would do soft tissue first and then would go into like mobs and passive range of motion. And like we still do like passive range of motion as well, but like I feel like the joint mob stuff like we don't really like do. We also have a lot of like strength and balance patients and neuro patients, and so like we don't have a lot of people that like necessarily like need joint mobs. And like the therapist that I was shadowing this morning sees a lot of like post-op patients, and I literally was like this morning, I was like, do you guys get a lot of post-op patients? And she was like, yeah. She's like, I have 7 or 8 on my schedule today. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's just us. Like, I mean, we have a couple like post-op knees, and like I think I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 post-op shoulders, like, but honestly like not that much, like not enough for me to like feel comfortable treating post-op. Honestly, that's been hard, and like I feel like I'm literally just like working for free. I'm not really like learning too much anymore, you know? So that's one thing that's kind of like hard like at this point in clinicals, because that's the same way that I felt at the SNF. Like week 6, I literally started having my own schedule, seeing my own patients like without my CI, like unless I like needed her, and she would check in on me and be like, yeah, I'm good. Like, and she would come with me for evals, but then half the time she would like leave and let me just do it with the OT or whatever. So I felt like the same way, like once I hit that 6-week mark, like you're pretty much like, you're pretty good, you know? So like I've only got literally, so like I have 3 weeks left including this week. Like this is week 8, and then week 9, week 10. So like I have 3 weeks left, and it's like going by really fast. Like we've upped my caseload each week. So like last week I was at 10 patients a day. I think this week we're doing 11 patients. And then like, I think next week and the week after we're doing like 11, 12, because by the end I have to be at 12 patients. But then my CI is going on vacation like my last 3 days. So I'm gonna be shadowing like somebody else. And so I'm like, that's gonna be like weird, because if I don't know their patients. So like, yeah, I could work on them, like, but I don't really know them. So like, that's gonna be really interesting, because it's not gonna be like my patients that I've been working with who are like my CI's patients. So I'm really curious as to see how that's gonna go. So I feel like maybe next week we can get to like the 12 patients, and then so that way the like last week isn't like too wild, like if I'm shadowing another therapist. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know what else to really say. I know that like it's just been like so long in between like these clips, so it's like hard to say like everything that's happened in the last 4 weeks, honestly. Yeah, getting closer and closer to being done, which I'm excited about, and finally like not having to do school ever again, unless I want like a certification or whatever. And there's obviously like, I have to get like continuing ed as part of being a physical therapist, which I'm actually like kind of excited about, because that's where you learn a lot of like skills that you don't learn in school, is like continuing ed. Like the PT that I showed today was showing me like some other like techniques and stuff that she learned in like one of her courses. So I'm like, yes, because like honestly I feel like a lot of like the stuff we learn in school, like people don't even like use. I don't know, like this whole PT school journey, you guys, has been like the most wild thing. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know if it's just me. Like, I know it's not, because I've talked to other people who feel the same way. But yeah, if I had done it all over again, would I have gone to PT school? Honestly, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would have just gone like PTA or something, because then like I can still treat patients and still do things, but like the physical therapist makes all the decisions, because I suck at making decisions, and don't have to do evals. Like, I suck at evals. Like, obviously, like, I'm getting better, and I know that I'll be a good physical therapist. Like, I've gotten this far. Like, I know it'll be great, but just looking back on like all of the absolute bull crap that I've gone through in the last 7+ years, because I had 2 years off in between PT school. So like literally like 9 years. Worth it? I don't know yet. Because even one of my friends, she's like, sometimes I don't know, but then I get that paycheck every 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, I will show up on Monday. And I'm like, okay. So we'll reconvene on that subject when I actually get a full-time physical therapy job. And then I'm like, yes, all of it was worth it. It's amazing. But yeah, as of right now, I'm still like, haven't gotten there yet, you know. Anyway, that's gonna be it for the update. I'm hoping that my phone isn't gonna overheat again, and I have to go, you know, inside and eat dinner and do all that jazz. So we'll continue to update. It's only a few weeks left. I do have my in-service next week, so I'm doing functional range conditioning, so I've got to make a little pamphlet or something about that. So I'll probably hopefully make a clip for that. We have some like ice cream social tomorrow, which I don't know what that means, but apparently we're doing something, some kind of event that we're doing, so that'll be interesting. And yeah, we'll just see how the rest of the next couple weeks go. So keep watching for the end, and I appreciate you being here. So thank you so much for watching this whole journey. I'm still working on my second ones. 2 of them are uploaded onto YouTube. I'm waiting for the first one to upload because I obviously can't upload the first one, or the other ones without the first one. Anyway, that's a whole separate thing. Hopefully they're already up and you've watched those, and then watch this so that you know what the sniff is, because that was a time. Anyway, okay, I'm just rambling now. I'm gonna go. Thank you. Catch you later.